Good morning, Rex. There he goes, down the stairs. What do you see, Steve? What do you see, T-Rex? What's out there? What is it, Steve? Birds, rabbits, chipmunks, mice? 61 degrees, 7:49. September 25th. Oh, my mic is over here on the couch. Shoot. You guys, can we do that over? There's no doing it over. There's no doing it over. It's one take, Tim. Could you hear me when my microphone was sitting over there on the couch? And I said, it's 61 degrees at 7:50 on September 25th. The barometer 30.10 and rising. The barometer is rising. It's very important to know the barometric pressure because wind is air moving from high to low pressure. And if you can't get the wind direction right, everything else falls apart. Where are you going, Steve? He's changed his direction. Yep, we heard cats here and out the door weather and more. And I'm going to be cleaning up the yard for the season pretty soon. Working on it, 1 yard at a time, you know. Got kind of a couple of things going on, one in Dennis, one in Weymouth, and always looking at the weather. So let's just put Steve in the ground right there. He's just all over the place. T-Rex gets wound up over there, and we get wound up right here. There's just a very light wind from the northeast here in North Weymouth right now. Out over the ocean, though, it's still coming. There's the temperature and wind map at 6 o'clock this morning. Black number is the temperature. You get your wind barbs, those black lines, and when they point from upper right to lower left, that means it's from the northeast. And still gusting past 20 on Nantucket. Buoy way out there to the east is gusting past 30, and in most of New England it's just calm right now. The air has been coming from the east and coming from the west at the same time every day. From the east near the ground, you can see it in a little bit of the snippet from the time lapse from yesterday in the Weymouth cam. Low-level clouds moving away, that's toward the west. Upper-level clouds coming in, that's toward the east. And we talk about differential advection in a blocking pattern. Well, things are going to change. Today is day 7 with that wind coming out of the northeast. The seas are still 6 feet, 10 seconds. So surf is getting a little cleaner today, and the wind mercifully is going to come around from the south. A lot of action on the weather maps. I call it, you know what they say about a magician, how he tricks us by using smoke and mirrors. That's a metaphor for lots of moving parts, and you don't know which way to look. So which way do you look this morning? Do you want to start with Mexico and Central America with the satellite imagery and the National Hurricane Center advisories, with the remnant of Jack now south of Acapulco again, maybe trying to regenerate, and to its right in the Yucatan Peninsula, just cutting to the east of Cozumel and Cancun. That is Helene, strengthening and growing rapidly. It's going to split between Cuba and Cancun today. That's the Yucatan Channel. Sorry, trying to remember all these different geographical locations into the Gulf of Mexico, and strengthening and deepening rapidly. And the way you know the strength of a storm is by its central pressure. So its central pressure is expected to go much deeper than the Euro had it yesterday. Much of the hurricane guidance, though, is already adjusted and calling for a major hurricane near Perry, Florida, in the Panhandle and the Big Bend area by tomorrow afternoon and evening. But there's other things going on. I'm going to use the upper level flow first to set the table on other guidance products we're going to look at. We're going to look up around 18,000 feet and see how the wind is moving. You have a big upper trough stretching from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf of Mexico, and that upper trough is going to break into 2 pieces. We're going to have one part left over the Mississippi Valley, and right here in New England, stop it tomorrow afternoon. We have our own separate strengthening cutoff low pressure system right over New England with a strong difluent flow over southern New England. That is, the air up at 18,000 feet is going to be moving in 2 different directions, from southwest to northeast over Maine, and from west to southeast over Massachusetts. That's updraft and that suction, and that causes heavy weather here in New England. And meantime, you have another pretty strong upper low, but more of a broad trough in Western Canada. So 3 big players. Oh yeah, and don't forget, right down there in Florida, that cutoff that is the hurricane Helene tomorrow. All right, timeout. T-Rex is all wrapped around this chair. Why is this chair here, Rex? It's just here to be in your way, because whatever you can wrap yourself around. Okay, you happy? That was intermission. That was the upper level flow. So we have so much going on, and I call it smoke and mirrors because while everyone's staring at the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to have our own system here in the Northeast and also the Northwest. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So let's go to the Northeast. And today, the high pressure system is actually stronger over the Gulf of St. Lawrence than it's been over the last several days. That's a 1031 high. That's sort of the last of this blocking pattern. And there's rain falling in Vermont. The front that's been off to our west produced severe weather yesterday across Ohio and Indiana. That front has had just waves of energy. And one wave of energy has got the radar showing us some rainfall over Vermont. It's going to move toward the north and away from New England today. And then a new wave is forming on the front today and tonight. And then another wave is going to form tomorrow. So a lot of moving parts here in the Northeast. And we'll go to the HRRR to see the play-by-play on how and when it's going to rain in New England. There are those showers moving to the north and out. Upper left is the clock. You can see the clock there by about sunset. Now we have a new batch of rain coming in from the west. So first elements are moving towards the north-northeast. And then overnight, those are going to expand. Low pressure is forming over New York. And the flow tomorrow is going to bring that rain in more from west to east as the day goes on, and then late in the day as that low strengthens to our north, the squall line forming in southern New England is going to move more from northwest to southeast. So the precipitation is going to be changing directions, and this ends right there at 2 a.m. tomorrow. That's as far as the 60 HRRR went out, and that is a squall line in southern New England with some torrential downpours that will move out on Friday morning. So here's the quantitative precipitation forecast from the HRRR, and you can see that rain, those first rain bands moving towards the north, and then late tonight and tomorrow they start moving towards the east, and then at the very end it kind of cuts off right there at 2 a.m. with the precipitation not quite having reached the south coast. And if we just do the math on how much rain that is between now and 2 a.m. tomorrow, we see that stripe. A lot of us are getting 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. That's in the purple. But then you see some yellow in Connecticut, and that is close to 6 inches of rain. If you go to Pivotal Weather and run these models, you can put your cursor over an area and it will show you how much rain, 5.9 plus in southwestern Connecticut by 2 a.m. tomorrow, and that's all happening really fast tomorrow night. This is completely separate from anything from the tropics. This is pure energy coming in from Canada and wringing out what little moisture there is available. It's not that moist around here, even though it shows all these clouds. Clouds are fairly thin. I think we might see the sun here in eastern Massachusetts. That's a mid-level altocumulus, probably around 12,000 feet right there. All right, so that's just in the next 24 to 36 hours. And once again, as I said yesterday, a lot of our bigger events have not been in the 5 to 10 day forecast. They've only been in the sort of 2 or 3 day forecast. So let's go and try and figure out what's going on after that. The Boston 5-day meteograph, this is from the weather.us, shows the showers and wind shifts coming in tomorrow. There's not a lot of wind tomorrow, mostly from the south, and maybe you get some leftover swell surfing tomorrow with the showers, mostly tomorrow night and early Friday. And then look what happens Friday afternoon. All of a sudden, sun's out, and we're between systems, and it's gorgeous Friday afternoon, temperature in the 70s. Sneak a little beach weather in right there. And then another front's going to come through, sort of the colder front's going to come through without any precipitation Friday night. And then Saturday over the weekend, we're going to be kind of brisk here with temperatures mostly in the 60s and a mixture of sun and instability clouds. Cold air up in the sky will produce cold air cumulus clouds, you know, those puffy, pretty clouds, and blue sky and chilly, comfortable nights for sleeping. All right, Rex, what is it this time? Something. Lots of things around here. That's goldenrod. Isn't that pretty? Bees love that stuff. What's a weed? A weed is a flower growing where you don't want it to grow. And I have no problem with that weed right there. I do have some problems with the other stuff in the yard, though. That's for another subject, another time. All right, now let's go to the really big picture. I showed the upper level flow, and I don't think I took it through. If you show the upper level flow and you take it through, we'll move it past tomorrow and show our upper level low moving out, and then we get air from Canada coming in this weekend, and now you have the remnant of Helene caught up in an upper level low that's over the southeastern United States, and that kind of eases off well to our south now on Tuesday. That's a huge change, and now you have a digging trough in central Canada moving in our direction, but most of the cold and action now at this point is going to be bottled up in Canada, and it looks like the Canadian flow and Helene are going to stay separate. That's today's guess. Yesterday it was a little different, and we're going to be left with sort of a quiet pattern for the most part next week, but for the surface fronts and timing them out. So now let's change gears and go to the surface, and we're going to have to show it in a really wide scale again so you can see the Gulf of Mexico. And you can see our upper level low tomorrow, and there goes our front out to sea, and there is Helene. Let's stop it tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Actually, our front's not gone yet. 5 o'clock tomorrow, our front is right over us. And there is Helene making landfall now, not as a 982 or an 84 as we had the couple of days ago. Now it's a 959. And for you that read your barometer at home, that's 28.3 inches. Major hurricane. It's going to be massive, very wide, hurricane force winds out for more than 100 miles from the center with storm surge, and that's a terrible situation almost on the entire west coast of Florida, maybe even to the east coast of Florida. Hurricane warnings are in effect. You get your details from the other people like that. Jonathan Petramala and Josh Morgerman and others are all going to be in town. I think Jim Cantori and I were texting yesterday. He says, no sleep, straight out, stop bothering me. So everyone else is going to cover that hurricane. And then let's just keep it going from there. And let's go through our weekend building high pressure, just some instability clouds. There goes Helene into the southeastern United States. We can close in a little bit more now, and I want to watch that front coming in from the Pacific Ocean and stop at Monday. We've stopped at Monday so many times. Monday morning, there's the remnant of Helene somewhere near Arkansas, and we have not much going on around here. And then if you look to what we've been talking about the last several days, 3 days ago, blizzard in Montana, 2 days ago, rain in North Dakota, yesterday, nothing, and now that front is even further to the north. And so that's a huge change, and that flow across Canada is very important to try and get the forecast in New England correct. So that's a strong storm up there in north central Canada, and there's going to be another one next week forming. And with those storms going across north central Canada, it's going to be tough to get the cold air pushed back in here. If we keep moving now and I go to late next week, and yesterday I said, wow, look at that front coming into the Great Lakes. Well, we have a weak front coming through here on Wednesday with some showers and downpours. Helene misses us to the south at that point. That's a lot faster with Helene missing off to the south, and this front now looking a little bit weaker than it did yesterday. And then if we go out all the way to next Friday or so, a storm way up there in north central Canada, and that will push warmer air back in our direction after a brief cool down midweek. And if we stop it at day 10, which is now about next Friday, Saturday, it looks like if we go south, there's another possible tropical cyclone in the Gulf of Mexico. So that should be interesting. A lot of moving parts in there, not a real definitive forecast for you other than watch out tomorrow with those heavy rains tomorrow night into early Friday, and mostly a nice weekend. Foliage is coming on strong, and it should be really pretty in northern New England without too much action. Just some instability clouds and some fog at the tops of the mountains, but the rainfall of 1 or 2 inches in the next 24 hours, it's more than we've had in our high country in almost 3-4 weeks, so it could be a little muddy underfoot, but anyone that does their hiking knows all about that. Here we are at 13 minutes, kind of rambling, kind of distracted by the animals. And yesterday I was watching a harvest. Nothing more rewarding than when you plant something tiny in the spring and you go in there in the fall and the bounty is a bunch of potatoes. Thank you, Angela, for sharing the potato harvest with us in Bert's Community Garden. I didn't get by with a bag to get my butternut squash and potatoes yesterday, but I will come by in the next few days. Thank you so much. And of course, your butternut squash and your potatoes, they last a long time. Those are your winter crops. So winter crop season is coming on strong. And what else? We came back, and Steve was eager to go out the door, so we came out the door, and I measured some rain. And I was gone for a bunch of days, but we picked up more than an inch of rain. And I don't know why there's a .02 in there right now. I guess I had a rain shower last night. I emptied it out yesterday. Anyhow, there were some rain showers yesterday, and 15 minutes. Sorry it went so long. Talk to you tomorrow. Ah, another hole. That's what you're barking at. Oh, Mitt wants to get in. All right, Rex, you go in. Hi, Mitt. We wanted you in Out the Door Weather and More. In case you haven't met Mitt, we've got 2 Maine Coon cats and a dog. Mitt's taken off. Oh, great. All right, I got to go catch Mitt and start editing. Talk to you later. Here's the and more from yesterday. What's in the bucket? Potatoes.
Potatoes.
You can grow potatoes on Cape Cod?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, look at those.
Look at those potatoes.
Bert would be so proud.
It wouldn't
These are gorgeous.
I'm telling you. And there's more here, I think, if I can find them.
It's like Easter egg hunt a little bit.
It's definitely like an Easter. And I got a red pepper.
I saw that thing yesterday. I'm glad you took it.
I took it. I was afraid it was took a long time for them to get red.
Right.
Anyway.
I think ultimately they usually turn red.
Yeah, ultimately they do. Oh, look at this little harvest.
Oh my goodness, look at those. That's like the gourmet potato.
I'm telling you.
Wow. What's your secret? Oh, I can't. It zoomed way out.
You go down to Agway and buy the seed potatoes and you plant them. That's about the secret.
Ah, secret.
But you have to have good Bert Kelly soil too.
Oh, that's gorgeous. It's sort of like cohogging, but on land.
You can come over to the garage and pick out. These I'm leaving for you, but look at there's some really.
Yeah, we didn't know
Nice
what
big
we were
one.
going to get when we put these in the spring.
Yeah, there's a big one there.
Oh, I think that's like a prize squash that you can eat.
I think those are patty pans or something, right?
I don't know whether to put it on the shelf or to eat it. Maybe
I
both.
don't either. But there's another one there. There's a couple over there.
Awesome. And the ground feels like it's plenty wet.
It is plenty wet.
I guess that's what happens when you get a month and a half worth of rain in 2 days.
Yeah.
That was
exactly.
good. The grass will be turning green before our eyes.
You can have some of these potatoes if you'd like.
Thanks. I will. Come over and grab 1 or 2. I love potatoes.
Good.
So I have a guest checking in here. The check-in time is 12. It's the latest season in the season ever.
Good. Oh, nice.
And
How was the wedding?
the wedding was outstanding. It was like 5 inches of rain, but everyone was smiling and dancing. The tent had plywood on the ground that kept us from soaking into the mud.
Oh, that was good.
The,
Yeah, of all the days to have it, that probably was the wettest. But
it was memorable for sure.
Yeah. Well, come over to the garage.
I will. What are you doing? You got all excited. T-Rex, what are you doing? Come here. You spaz. On the road again, entering Yarmouth, Bass River, Mayfair Boatyard. And I do believe we saw some crepuscular rays coming down from the sky. Yes. Eagles are at the Sphere. Chuck Nolan, live at 5.
Eagles from CLA.
The guidance said that there'd be some precipitation coming in from the east tonight. Global guidance. No, it was the HRRR, wasn't it? Another sunset from the Sagamore Bridge. By 1,000,000th and 1. Can't see the sun though. Does that count? 5:30 at the old exit. It was 13 when I lived here. The road is wet, so it did rain a little bit today. Wow, puddles here on the Hingham-Weymouth line. T-Rex, were you expecting puddles today? They didn't say anything about puddles. Wow. How about that granite outcropping? Look at that boulder there. Erratic. Rex gets all excited. We're getting close to mommy. Erratic. That's not just my behavior or T-Rex behavior. Erratic is the name of these big granite boulders that got delivered here from Canada and northern New England by the Laurentide ice mass a couple 100,000 years ago. Erratic. Weather's erratic too, less than a mile away. It's totally dry. Very isolated rainfall. Erratics right there. Big boulders. Coming over this knoll, view never disappoints. Not just talking about that skeleton there. Talking about the view of Boston. Looks a lot better without the camera. Are we there, Rex? Are we there? Did we make sunset? Oh yeah, I think we did. Let's go get Steve and Mitt and bring them out. There's Steve right there, waiting for you. Yeah, hi Steve. Sorry, Rex just wants to go say hello to Mommy.
Wow. Hello. Hello. Hello.
62 degrees, 6 o'clock. Somehow it's 67 degrees inside. I don't know how the houses are staying so warm with the mean temperature staying below 65. They call it a heating degree day when your mean temperature is 65 or lower. And we've been there for several days. And I admit I did turn the heat on for a moment today. Want to catch a rabbit? No. So I turned on the heat for a few minutes today just to see if it worked, and some new guests came in and wanted to make sure that they knew how to use the heat, and it worked, and it did work, and I only kept it on for a second. Where's the sun? It's right there. Find the sun, Steve. Wind from the east, day 6 in a row. Let's see how much rain we got while I was away. We had a 0.14 before I left on Friday. And since then, just over an inch. 1.08 with a bug. And the Montauk daisies are about to bloom. More on that. Oh, here's the first one right there. Come on, focus. Multiple microphones, multiple lenses, multiple challenges using an iPhone. This is the 15. I'm sure 16 is just as challenging. Tomatoes in the salad tonight. All right, one more thing, breaking news. Steve was determined to come over to this side of the yard. He saw something I couldn't see. What? What'd you do? Let him go. Let him go. Good mouser. I know, that's what you're supposed to do, but I'm a softie. So I'm taking him, and I'm gonna give him a slight chance. Hey, I'm on your side, buddy. Oh! Stop. That mouse wishes I didn't come home, although he's alive. Okay, never know what you're gonna see in out-the-door weather and more. Cats earn their keep too. The olden days, all cats and dogs earned their keep, didn't they? Good cat. Steve, thank you. Okay, that's it. Time lapse, one spot or another. Clouds up high coming in from the west, clouds down low coming in from the east. Day 7 in a row.